next in line. Lower class and social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one lives countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower class and social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force of air. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one leaves countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Okay, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Rock the Boat here on UCY.tv. I've still got the other banner up, which is Game On, but it's going to come down soon. And we will get the Rock the Boat banner up. And I like the name Game On because it is Game On. And, we got to put our team together and go make some changes, serious changes. Through the research and that over the years, it's more than obvious the world's upside down. We live in a fictional world, and I didn't see anything that I don't watch many movies, but we watched that one Pirates of the Caribbean where they started rocking the boat when they realized that they were not in the real world. They were in the fictional world, and they had to right the ship. So we're going to rock the boat. And we got to get it turned right side up, and so we can get back to the real world. Just before I get on today's show, I don't listen to many shows. I don't have time. I listen to more or less the probably last half hour of Shawley's show there, and whoever show it was. Clint Richards was on it, and Shawley was on it, so I don't know whose show it even is. I don't know if it's Clint's show or Shawley's show, but whoever show it is, Shawley fired off a beautiful rant about 20 to the top of the hour, and he's absolutely correct. And, at the very end of the show, I understand his frustration. You see jackasses like what's that guy's name, Jones, and his party of snake oil salesmen. A lot of people. What the hell's that guy's name? The guy from the health joint, the health ranger there. Whatever the hell his name is. When you get back in the back end of his site, he's calling for mass depopulation. Okay? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. These guys are players, always been players. They're good salesmen. Maybe we got to sell stuff, eh, Shawley? I understand your frustration. I've done talks. I was invited to speak in London, Ontario, which is a city of about, 500,000-600,000 people. I did get a little bit of radio time on a radio show down there to promote the talking engagement we were going to do. And, I don't know. I wasn't even going to bother speaking there. I roll into a town of 500,000 people, and They were going to book me at the whatever it is, some big union hall. And the guys who were doing the booking, I said, well, you're not going to get that hall because they're not going to let me speak in that hall. That I guarantee you. And he said, well, no, we had the ex-deputy prime minister from way back when, Paul Hellyer, speak there. I said, yes, but Paul Hellyer's a player, and so is the union a player. And they're certainly not going to let me speak there. And it turns out they didn't. And therefore I ended up speaking at a smaller place. And I don't know what showed up there, 30, 40 people maybe. I walked in there and I was absolutely disgusted. So I understand where Shawley's coming from. You know, we've done these talks. I had a friend who busted his ass for years putting out a newsletter, you know, people donating paper and ink and stuff. I mean, these were basically 8.5, 11 sheets of paper that he stapled together. And he busted his ass. You know, he was putting on these food freedom shows and showing films and this and that and the other thing. And he did that for years. And he just got beat up. I mean, he just really got beat up. And he pulled out. And the guy's brilliant, knows his stuff. He was a phenomenal researcher. And he ended up, not unlike Shawley was mentioning earlier in the show, he just, he lived in a very small city, like 20,000 people. But he just went and decided he was done because people were just too far gone. And went out and him and his girlfriend rented a little farmhouse out in the countryside with no electricity, no plumbing in it. And they set it up so, you know, they did their own plumbing. They're running on solar panels. They're running on generators. They're running on LED lights. It's rather rustic, but they're growing most of their own food now. About 90% of the food they eat, they grow. They've learned how to jar food and become quite self-sufficient. And a lot of Amish people around there, and Doug works, you know, for the Amish and himself at the farms. But, you know, I encouraged Doug. He came on the show a while back, and, you know, I don't want to see people like Shawley, who has obviously done some phenomenal work. If you listen to this show, you don't get depressed. Don't quit. It's tough. It's really tough. I hear where you're coming from. Okay, I've been dragged in and out of courts. I'm basically what I will call under house arrest right now. I'm walking, and you know, I have 2 vehicles in the driveway, but I'm walking because of the system, as Doc likes to call it. You know, trying to get from month to month, it's not easy. Almost lost a house, and every month is pretty tricky. I get all that stuff, but you got to keep talking, and people are I know it's a hell of a slow process. And when I get into this 10 years ago, I mean, I'd been a researcher back in the 70s. I knew what was coming long time ago. And when I tried to talk to people back then, I would be called out, you know, if you don't like this country, then get the F out, and so on and so forth. And all I was trying to do was alert people to what was coming. You know, everything's written down. It's always been written down. All you got to do is read it. And so, yeah, it's a tough job, you know. When I got into this, you know, I said, this is going to be, I'm not one to back down. I don't go looking for fights. I ain't one to back down from one either. And I knew this was going to be a big fight. And I didn't realize just how dumbed down the general population had become until I got into this about 10 years ago. Like Shawley, I didn't get in this to get rich. I got into this because I feel it's my duty, because I have a certain amount of knowledge, And I know what the plan is, and I feel obligated that I have a part to play in this. And is it frustrating? It's ridiculously frustrating. I get up lots of times to do these shows, and I look at the computer and I say, I'm done. I don't need to be doing this crap. You know? I mean, I'm living month to month, hand to mouth, and beat down and stomped on and cussed out. And, they say, I don't need this crap. But that's what they're trying to do, okay? The whole thing is about submission. If you quit, and I hope you're listening to this, if you quit, then you've submitted. And all the work that you've done to date is worth nothing. Because if you submit, then how is it you're going to encourage anyone? What you've done if you quit is you told everybody, I busted my ass and I couldn't get anywhere, so I quit. And all you're doing is telling the people that there's no point in even attempting to stand up. So you, my friend, have an obligation. Whether you're depressed, whether you're broke, it doesn't matter. You have an obligation, okay, because your job is to strengthen the minds and the spines of the people that listen to you. And if you quit and pack it up, you've just told everybody you've been trying to tell to stand up, wake up, and strengthen the minds and their spines that it ain't worth it. And therefore, all of your work to date is worse than a failure. Because now the people that looked to you for strength, you're telling them it's not worth the trouble. And that's a sad, sad place to be. And I don't think you're going to quit. You better not quit, or I'll have to track you down and give you a bang up the back of the head. But I understand your frustration. I really, truly do. I have it every day. We dig and dig and dig and try to figure out a way to inspire people, to get them up off their asses and get them moving. And it ain't an easy job. It's a brutal job. I mean, figure it out. Everybody's been lied to since the day they were born. I mean, Psych 101 basically says that once the mind's accepted a lie as a truth, it's very difficult for the mind to set the lie aside, even though you can put down in absolute, unequivocal, undeniable facts that what they believed is a lie, and you can show them there is the truth. They'll still attempt to make excuses of why they're hanging on to the lie. And the people who run the world know this. They know it. So do we have a lot to overcome? Absolutely. Can we overcome it? Yes. But we ain't going to overcome it by laying down like wounded dogs. I've seen this over and over and over. Good men, good women who know the truth, who are doing what they're doing because they care for their fellow man and woman. They care about them. That's the way you do it. And the game is to eventually beat you down, so you just basically shut up. And all that does is discourage people from even standing up, from even opening their mouths. So as beat up as you may be, my friend, as depressed as you may get from time to time, shake it off. Take some time, reevaluate, but you can't quit. Because if you do quit, well, you're going to be real depressed because you know you got beat down. And I don't think you're the kind of guy that's going to put up with that kind of stuff. Yeah, you just said you were going to give up. Yeah. Because it's frustrating. Am I going to give up? Not a hope in hell. Will I ever give up? No. I do have faith in my fellow man. Now, it's extremely frustrating. My own family, I mean, I basically lost my family. My family's got their head stuck up their ass and they can't pry them loose. But what I found out about family, it's the family's going to have to get it from somewhere else. I see this all the time with other people. The family can't deal with another family member telling them the truth. They need someone else to tell them the truth. That's basically what I found. There must be family somewhere who get it, who want to engage. But for the most part, when a family member comes out speaking against the lie, the rest of the family goes, well, that can't be right, and they just hang on to the lie. So in most cases, there's not much point in family talking to family in about these matters. They're going to have to come to grips with the reality that they're facing from somewhere else. But give up, no. You know, you get days, boy. Well, I tell you, it's a super bummer. But the thought of getting beat down by these guys, it just ain't palatable to me, at least. You know, my attitude basically is you're going to live till you die. And then the question that one has to ask themselves is, okay, what is it I'm going to be doing between now and that eventuality? I'm going to watch TV, play computer games. I'm going to pretend everything's wonderful. Well, I'm telling you, when you get to that last day, and you're laying there and you flash back through your life and you realize there's a whole bunch of things you should have been doing, but you didn't have the spine or the mind to get up and do it, or you didn't do it through because of fear or anxiety or what somebody else might say about you or think about you, I think you're going to find that it's too late now to get up and do something. And I think you're going to be rather remorseful that you didn't get up and do something, because you see, you owe it to your forefathers, you owe it to your children, you owe it to your grandchildren, you owe it to those not yet born. I'm very saddened by what we've become. You know, I try to get inspiration from my forefathers who left their lands because they were living under tyranny. And they were given an opportunity, they thought, to get out and start a new life in a new land. And those had people who were extremely committed. What we have to do is so much easier than what they were looking at doing. I mean, they're getting on boats. They don't know where the hell they're even going. They don't know what they're going to end up or where they're going to end up. They don't know what they're going to face. I mean, this must have been extraordinarily difficult to come to a new land, and you know, what were they carrying with them? You know, maybe a rifle, maybe a broad axe, maybe some coffee and sugar, but they had nothing basically when they landed here. And they had the tenacity and the spine and the mind to take on what people today would say was something that was absolutely not accomplishable. And they accomplished it. And here we are today, we're so weak in the mind and the spine, we can't get up to do nothing. We're running around looking for heroes. You know, I almost puked over this Ron Paul nonsense there a few years ago. Ron Paul's going to save us. He's a player, you twits. If he wasn't a player, he wouldn't be in the government, would he? Okay? Donald Trump's going to save us. No, he's not. And I concur with Charlie on this. Who's going to save us? We're going to save us, or we're not going to save us. But this attitude of blaming politicians, we got to get them out and vote the next one in. That's a sign of an idiot doing the same damn thing over and over and over, looking for a different result. And then when you do vote somebody else, well, they're just as bad as the last one. No shit. Are you stupid? If you've got anybody that you're listening to that's talking about right and left politics, shut them off immediately because you're listening to a player or an idiot, both of which is a waste of your time. This idea of hanging on to the idea that somebody's going to come and save your ass is ludicrous. But see, that's the fictional world we live in. It's not a real world. It's fictional. The fictional character will come and save us in our little fictional world, the legal world, the world of fiction, the world of lies, the world of deception. That's why we're going to rock the boat. And we ain't going to rock this boat gently, which is probably the worst song I ever heard in my frickin' life. So if there's somebody out there that has some musical capabilities, I'm looking for a new intro song that would reflect what I try to do on this show, and it has to have Rock the Boat in it somewhere. Simple as that. So I got my good friend who is a Muslim supporter who loves the Chinese people living next door to him, who wants to be a black man, Duck. My good friend Chris out of Kingston wants to get in on this. And so we're going to bring him in and see what's cooking here. That's not working. Why is this not working? Well, let me do it this way then. Let's see what's cooking here. Why is he not in here? I'll drag his ass in. How's that? I think he called. See if we get him online here. So anyway, Shali, what I heard of your show was really good. Clint was good. And we got some stuff to kick ass here, so let's go get it done.
Hey, Ron?
Yeah, is this Chris?
That would be me.
You're Islamic now, right?
Yeah, I'm that Islamic conspiracy terrorist type guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm on Skype with you because I can't get through on the phone lines on UC.
Well, okay, because
So
have you got your radio on or what? I'm hearing stuff.
Well, I kind of have to have it on, I think, or do I? Hang on.
No, I shot you in here. You can shut it off.
Okay.
There.
Is that better?
That's much better.
Okay, thanks, bud.
I thought it was some kind of Islamic, mental thing you were doing too.
Yeah, just trying to make everybody dizzy.
Yeah. You want to get the truck and run people over or whatever. I see that, just before you get going here, I see that Woodstock, the Muslims in Woodstock are been on to the federal government and wants the federal government to pay for a new mosque. I think it's in Woodstock because apparently the federal government coughed up the money for a mosque or something in Montreal. So, they're coming. And it was all through propaganda. Again, that stupid show, Little Mosque on the Prairie. I mean, anybody that didn't realize what that was, I mean, that was prepping propaganda. Isn't it wonderful? We have a little mosque on the prairies. Now we're going to have a little mosque in your hometown to boot.
I don't know why people would watch that to begin with, but to each their own, I guess. I mean, it's Canadian broadcasting. What do you expect? We had the Beachcombers. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. I guess. I actually watched that show.
No, you did not.
I did too.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, well. Nothing but distraction.
Yeah, I don't watch anything now. I haven't watched anything for years. But, it's all distraction, yeah. It's all propaganda and distraction.
Well, I was listening to Shawley's show before yours, and I don't know. Shelley doesn't mix shows too much, but he was the first person to introduce you to UCY.TV.
Well, he did a beautiful rant there about 1140. I just
That was
sat back.
Clint.
That was Clint doing that rant?
Yeah.
The cussing and swearing?
Yeah. That was Clint.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was Shawley doing that.
No, that was.
Well, off to Clint then. That was a hell of a good rant.
Yeah.
Okay. So everything I was saying, I should have been addressing Clint, not Shawley.
Yeah.
My mistake. I don't know a lot of these voices. Well, then to Clint, get bummed out, go for a walk, and come back. And
no, I loved the way you responded, though. I mean, you can tell in his voice. Clint is a very intelligent man, very intellectual. I have to listen to the show 4 times before I can figure out everything he said. He very, very intelligent man. But he's getting stressed out.
Well, this is what happened to my friend Doug, right? And I'm trying to get Doug back going again. And what I told Doug was, if you're burned out right now, then go take a break. But don't stop your research. Don't just walk away. You got too much to offer. And the same message go out to Clint. You got way too much to offer. I understand the frustration. I mean, I'm frustrated all the time. It's tough, and I got to hand it to my sweet wife. Like there's lots of days, man. I said, I'm done. I am done. And she'll say, you got a show in 10 minutes. Get on it. She keeps the whip on me, and she suffered bad over this, right? I mean, it's a tough game. It's a really tough game. I mean, it's frustrating, when you got guys like Jones and that raking in the cash. They're doing this to get rich. We're doing this to try to help people understand what's going on, and trying to show them and encourage them what they can do to turn this right side up again. So but it's changing. It's changing, and Clint's got to realize that. I mean, we've done lots of
Clint
conferences and stuff.
Ron, Clint was a very popular host at RBN.
Yeah. And
he quit RBN because I think he was doing 5 shows a week, if I'm not mistaken, and it was getting to be too trying. So he jumped off just to take a break, and then he came back on UCY, which we're very privileged to have him.
Mm-hmm.
And he took about a few weeks off, I think. Now I could be mistaken, maybe it was a month. But then he got on Shawley's show on UCY, and wow. I mean, what a privilege to have him on this network.
Well, the thing is, right? Like you do get frustrated, right? And I mean, if you're doing 5 shows a week, you're going to burn out. It's different. It's different. Like I've been on mainstream radio. I've been in the studios, and I wasn't allowed to have a show on mainstream, and I was told I know too much. And therefore, it's not going to work, right? Because I'm not going to try to manipulate people. I'm going to try and get in their heads and tell them what's right, and that's it. And that's not how mainstream radio works. But when I'm in their studios, I would kill to have a setup like this, right? They and I gotta take my hat off to you, because you're like the booking agent or something. You brought some wonderful people to the show, and I thank you for that. But when I go in the studio, and I've been in a few of them, you got the sound guys, you got the research guys, you got the guys, you got the intro guys, the out guys. So all you really got to do, and everything's set up, everything's ready to go, right? You sit down, put the headset on, and fly. The pressure, there's not much pressure for a radio host. When you're doing this online stuff, you're doing the research, you're doing the setups, you're the whole damn crew,
Yes,
and you ain't getting a red nickel for your time.
exactly.
It's tough. It's
You know,
really tough.
That's why you guys are the heroes.
Well, no, I hate that word with a passion, and you know it. I hate
I
that
know
word.
you do.
too. I hate it.
I'm
There's
still
not a worse word that I know of than hero. You know, he's our hero. He's going to save us. Oh, shut up, please.
No.
I'm not talking about me, but I'm talking about
you're
the
at the
general
football
public
game.
goes, you know, like Ron Paul's going to save our asses. Give it a break. You know, Donald Trump's going to save our asses. Give it a break. Okay? This is hero worship. And you were taught to worship these so-called heroes so that you don't become active.
Well, no, I think of it more as motivation to become more like you and Clint and Shawley and guys like you.
You know,
It inspires me. It inspires my children.
well, that's what we're trying to do.
That's a hero.
Inspire
That's my opinion.
people. You know, I had a very interesting chat with a guy. I put up a picture on my Facebook of Kathleen Wynne with a wanted poster, dead or alive, on it, and she's the premier of Ontario. And actually, I've been waiting for a cop to show up at the house, saying, you know, you're inciting violence or something by a dead or alive poster. Well, it was just what I found on the internet, and I stuck her face in. A big deal. I didn't say it; the poster said it, and I didn't make the poster, so piss off. But the number of hits I got on this is phenomenal. And it's a good way to gauge the feelings of people. And this I'd put up on, it was Hydro One site, which people are bitching and complaining about Hydro One, but they still don't get it, right? They still don't get it. They're blaming the wrong people. So I got talking to a guy, I think his name was Mike, and we went through a bunch of stuff. And that, I think, is what keeps one going, right? You know, he's saying, how are we gonna fight back? Okay, good question. Now that's the start point, right? That's the start point. Not blaming anybody, but what is it we can do to fight back? How can we change this? And I haven't changed my tune one iota on this. In 2018 in Ontario, we are going to have another municipal election, of which I will be running in again. And this time, I expect when the smoke clears, I will be the mayor of this place. But it's simple math, okay? It's simple mathematics. You know, you run. You know, I at one point years ago, but things have changed a lot. I mean, from when the first time I ran in 2010, well, I actually ran in 2007, the provincial election, and learned a lot about how pathetic that is. But in 2010, you couldn't talk about anything. People, they didn't know anything about anything. They wouldn't let me run in 2014. And I went knocking doors with a candidate. A lady had talked into running, I told her, I'm not going to let you in, but we can gauge. I can get back on the doors and get a gauge of what people are feeling and what they can talk about now. And the difference of the conversation from 2010 to 2014 was absolutely amazing. Subjects you couldn't go near in 2010, people were more than wanting to know information about in 2014. 2018, that's another 4 years. Now people are pissed off about their hydro bills, their water bills, their taxes, what the kids are being taught in school. And you've got these jackass candidates that don't know squat. They're all vetted. They're stupider than a box of rocks. And I want people to understand that. I'm very frustrated because to try to get people to run, they're going, it's excuse land. That's what Canada is. Welcome to the big excuse. We got an excuse for every damn thing. We as a Canadian people, we can make an excuse why we can't do anything. And we're good at it. And yes, they are. They're very good excuse people. You see, you're whining, bitching, and complaining. Now, put in your $100. That's all it costs to run for council. $100 stinking dollars. put your money down on the table and go.
Well,
And so just let me finish this. So my guy said, well, okay, and I said, no, we have 2 years now to try one more time. Okay, so simple math states, it would be nice if you could run 7 candidates for each seat. And I know there's more than, most councils have 5 to 7 councilors on them. So you run average 35 candidates. You overpower them, okay? You take the message away. One person up running against the incumbents and the other people who are running who are also vetted, okay, you are the lone wolf message, and it's very easy for them to call you a conspiracy theorist or hammer you down, or the papers hammer you down, okay? That's tough going. Been there, done that. But if you overpower their message with your message, okay, so you run a minimum. You have to run a minimum of 3 candidates to each one of theirs. So if they're running 7 candidates, or there's 7 seats, and most of the seats aren't really contested in local elections, you overpower their message just by sheer numbers and voices. Okay, so if they've got 7 seats available, all you got to do is dig up 21 people in your community who understand what the hell's going on. So you got 2 years to train these people into exactly what's going on, what they're going to be saying, why they're going to be saying it. You put those people up in 2018, you will take the majority vote, because if there's 7 councilors, you only need 4 in. You got the majority on every single vote.
yeah.
And I know you want to go and cut the head off the snake. You can't get to the head.
No. What I'm saying is, I totally agree with everything you're talking about. However, we've got a lot of dumbed down people in Canada, municipally, provincially, federally, just a bunch of dumbed down sheeple.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's a bad word to use because that's what Alex Jones uses, but it's the truth.
No, he uses
people. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not. No, people.
No, it's just that Alex. No, wait a minute.
Listen,
just a second. Al, I just want to put this in. Alex called me and asked me if anybody put him down, if I could give him a call and tell who did it so he could go sue their asses. So I'm going to need 2 pieces of your ID so I can send it over to Alex, because you said something a little derogatory about him. And,
you got it.
I'm sorry.
But you need, unfortunately, and I can say this, and I've actually said it years ago. We had one guy here called Carl Walker, who called himself Rosie the Clown,
mm-hmm.
and very good speaker, very intelligent man. But you can't get a bunch of people in. You have to be able to talk like you talk to make people understand, and you can't get 4 people in this town to talk like you talk. So, like,
but that's an excuse. That's an excuse.
Society.
No. You just told me is an excuse. You're telling me that Kingston is, how many people live in Kingston, Ontario?
Well, because they got amalgamation, I think we're up to 160,000 now.
160,000 people. How many people on the city council? 9? It won't be more than 9.
I haven't paid attention lately.
Maybe
12.
Oh, maybe 12.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even look at.
I doubt there's 12 on it. Call it 10.
Sure.
So you need out of what did you say the population was? 100 and some thousand.
I think it's 160. It could be 180.
Okay, 180,000 people. You got 10 seats. You need 30 people. You tell me there isn't 30 people in a population of 160,000 people that can actually speak or actually have the
Yes,
attitude.
I am.
No,
Yes,
I am absolutely no.
Yes,
No.
I am. I'm telling you that for a
No,
fact, Ron.
no. That's an excuse. Okay, so if that's how people think in this province in this country, then I guess Clint's right. We might as well just pack it up and say piss on it. We might as well go and sell shit and make money at it. We might as well just forget about the whole thing. That's an excuse. That's an absolute excuse. You can take these people. We've got 2 years to put a team together in our municipalities. 2 years of pissed off people who are watching their middle classdom disappear in front of their faces, watching their debt load go through the ceiling, who these people are generally pissed off now, and that's a good thing.
Nobody's watching. Nobody's watching what's going on, Ron.
Well, no, see, that's an assumption. You don't. What?
People are doing they're going to work, trying to pay their bills,
Right.
and they don't got time.
They don't have time. These are all assumptions you're making.
I just got a no microphone detected. Are you still hearing me?
Yeah, I get that. I got that yesterday, and I thought it was off air, but it was working. I don't know what the hell.
Okay, I don't know. Okay.
No, you're fine. But
No, but that's what's happening here. People are
well, actually, the opposite is happening. Okay, people have been dumbed down for so long that people assume that they are continued to be dumbed down. People are starting to have the proper conversation. Our job is to encourage those conversations. Our job is that we've got 2 years to put some teams together. We've got 2 years to basically put a team together that will overwhelm them. Then the power of the people.
But you need
is in
speakers.
the hands
You need
of
people.
what?
You need people. You need people. Now, I'll use the baddest word ever. You need Hitler-type people to make people understand what's going on. And now
I don't know what a Hitler type people even is.
Okay, well, let me explain it to you. I'm very active in what I do, but I'm not a very good public speaker. I have done it, and it has worked well in instances, but not overall. We need people that can explain the true situation for what it is and be able to take questions and respond accordingly, but keep it, in Canada, politically correct enough to grab more people to bring them in, to understand what we're trying to do here with true freedom.
You got 2 years. You got 2 years to find 30 people. 2 years to train 30 people.
Good luck if I can find
you. Hire and fire.
I'd be happy if I could find
No. You work for yourself. You hire and fire people all the time, right? I run marketing outfits where I was hiring and firing salesmen and phone solicitors and construction workers. The idea is to build a team. Now, my experience over the years is about 21 to 1. Okay, to get me a really good salesman that I could depend on, that wasn't a shyster, that was honest, was about I would go through about 21 people to get one good one. I did the same thing in construction. I went through a lot of people because what we're trying to do is build a team, okay? And it takes a lot of auditions, if you will. If you're going to put a band together, you're not going to hire the first guy coming through. He's going to audition for you. You may have him work for you a couple of days, and as you assess this situation, you say, this ain't going to work. If you are intuitive, you know what you can and cannot work with. And there's no point wasting a whole bunch of time with somebody, a band, bass player that's never going to be to the position that you need them to be in, regardless of what you do with them. You have to be able to know that. It's a gut feeling, if you will. Nice guy, and he plays a decent bass, but he ain't ever going to get to where we need him to be. Same thing with a guy banging nails. Might be a real nice guy. He might be able to hit a nail, but in the long run, this ain't going to cut it. This is not a team man. And that's what we have to build. We build teams. And what did they do to take us down? They built teams. Okay? They put like-minded people together. They worked with them. They indoctrinated them. They got into a position where these people were dedicated to the team. That's how they got us. It wasn't an accident that we ended up here. It's not an accident that we're living under this tyranny that we're living under now. They made, some people got together and said, if we did this and we did that and we did this and we get the right people on the team, we can take this whole freaking thing over. And that's exactly what they did. So don't tell me it can't be done. You're living in the result of what something was done. These people dedicated themselves, built their team, and they came and took it away from everybody else. We just got to go take it back because it belongs to everybody. It doesn't belong to this handful of jackasses who managed to deceive us into giving up everything and submitting to their nonsense.
Well, all the regular listeners and you and I know that they built their system for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And the few of us that are waking up and understanding this and trying to correct it, to bring it back to where we can be happy again, is very few and far.
Well, it's not the destination; it's the trip. Okay, it's not the destination. People always go. I get people, they're going to go on a trip somewhere, and they miss the trip because all they see is the destination. Okay, that's all they see is the destination. The guys, the destination is not. It's basically an anticlimax almost. Right, the trip is the fun part. Okay, now I have all kinds of people that think you're going to change all of this in 6 days. This is generational. Okay, and we have to get to the kids.
There's a rush.
I actually had some kids that really freaked me out because most of the people that post on my Facebook and that would be from mid-40s up for the most part, and those are the ones that Hitler wasn't the least bit worried about. Okay, those are the ones that said, I can't come and join with you, and they said, I don't care, you're going to pass anyways, and once you've passed, then the state is all they will know. Okay, so that's why it's so important to go get the kids, because they're the ones that have really been indoctrinated hard, and turned against their parents, basically, and turned against the society that we supposedly built and wrecked the world on, and it's all our fault. I had some kids, or some kid, it was a picture of a bunch of teenagers with, red and blue and yellow hair and all that kind of shit. And it kind of threw me, because the reason I even went and looked at it was I saw a comment which was unintelligible. And what is this supposed to mean? Right? It was the worst gaggle of non-sentences I could ever run across. And I thought, what are they trying to say? So I went and looked at the picture, and here's all these kids in a picture. And so I appreciated that they were actually trying to say something, but they apparently came out of a public school or in a public school, and they can't even put their thoughts down. Not in some intelligent way. And that, again, is on purpose. It's not the children's fault. It's our fault for allowing the system to do this to the children. This is absolute abuse of the children. And this should piss people off. Forget your hydro bills, forget your taxes and all this kind of stuff. What they've done to the children and what they're doing to the children should absolutely piss everybody off. And yet the parents don't seem to be pissed off about it. But then the parents came through the same school system, so they also are a product of the state school system. So, this idea that we're going to change this overnight, I think more than anything that discourages people from even stepping up to the plate. I've been so discouraged. I mean, I spent 2 years before the 2010 election, or the better part of 2 years, everybody bitching and complaining about these windmills and this and that and the other thing. And, I spent an unreal amount of time working with these people. And I didn't realize how dumbed down people were until I got involved in that. These adults, these people that have property out in the countrysides and that, it was like talking to retards.
Really?
So, you want to fix this, then we have to go and get a hold of the local council. Why are you going to the local council, cap in hand, begging them to do something they're not going to do? Okay? Why would you do that? That is so stupid. It's ridiculous. You're begging your abuser not to abuse you when the job is to abuse you. And you're going there expecting some sort of a good result. It ain't going to happen. How are you going to get the result? You're going to make the result yourself. What do you got to do to make the result? You're the one that's got to be sitting in that chair. You're the one that's got to be able to vote it down. Because they're all pushing it. So you're wasting your time going to the council. Get in the council. Now, my friend up north there will know. And this is the other thing about inspiration, this idea that people are beaten down or they're old. I have friends my age that are so old it's ridiculous. It scares the hell out of me. My friends the same age as me, the guys I partied with when I was a kid, they're old men. They sound like old men.
They're beat up on, Ron.
Exactly. Now, I don't know if I sound like an old man. Maybe I do. I don't know. But I certainly don't feel like a man.
I heard
and Carl up north, who I've never met.
UFC 201 or something.
What's that?
I heard rumors that you're going to be fighting in UFC 201 or something.
What's that?
Ultimate Fighting Championships.
Oh well, those guys are useless. You just got to poke them in the eye.
And you're gonna be fighting Brock.
Well, I would love to get in the ring with Trudeau. I mean, I found that picture. I never seen that sucker before. He was a 60-some-year-old man by the look of it, a short guy, putting a glove right up Trudeau's nose, and got a little mash going on there.
That fucking Brazil. What a clown show that was.
Well,
it's prime minister at the time. He is now our prime minister. They fucking Brazil guy.
Just a second. There you go. I don't know who this is. I've never seen her before. Surely you just too. Don't go to the council. Be the council. That's it, Shirley. That's it. That's what I've been trying to tell people for, what is it now? The last 6 years. On a regular basis. We're going into the third election. There's no excuse not putting your $100 down. Okay? People deal with fear in a funny way, and that's a Canadian thing. They don't think they're not schooled enough. They don't understand what it would take to be a councilman or woman. It takes nothing. It takes $100. If you've ever been to council, okay, these people are dumber than a box of rocks. Okay, they're all vetted, okay, but they don't know anything. They're not supposed to know anything. They're just supposed to do as the COO tells them, because the COA, who is not elected, is the one that sets the agenda for these tools sitting on council. Now, what happens when you only have one, it gets very ugly, because now my buddy, who was, I think, around 65 or something. We had been working on this windmill thing on blogs and stuff. And when I was trying to get people to run for council, You know, it's almost like reverse problem reaction solution, okay? Or maybe it's the same as problem reaction solution, whereas we know what the real problem is, and in their world of Hegelian dialect, what they do is to make up a problem, get a reaction to this, and get to the solution, the preconceived solution that they already had before the problem. We know what the problem is, and we know what the solution is. Okay, so it's much simpler. We've defined the problem. We got to get a hold of council. Now the solution is get a hold of council. But look at what happened to my friend up north, that little town of Wilno. I bugged the snot out of him to run because he understood all of this stuff. He was a good researcher. I said, we got to go get some power. Beating on the castle walls with rocks from outside the castle walls is going to have no positive effect whatsoever. The castle will still be standing in there in 1,000 years, and people will still be throwing rocks at the outside of the castle walls. You got to get inside the castle, okay? You got to get sitting at the damn table. In fact, you got to take over the table. Now, you don't have to stand outside and throw rocks. But my friend up north, who was around 65 at the time, and I was beating on him to run, and he had run, he said, 20 years prior and didn't win, and he wasn't going to run again. He was adamant about that. He was just going to sit on his deck, ride his little motorcycle, and enjoy life until his dirt nap showed up. Well, I just started beating on him about his new grandchild and told him, you go down there to Toronto and you spend some time with your new grandchild, and you tell your grandchild that Grandpa knows the plans, Grandpa knows what's in store, but Grandpa ain't got no spine and his mind isn't strong enough to do what needs to be done. Now you go tell your grandchild that for a few days and you come back and tell me you're not going to run. Now he was very angry with me about that. Call it tough love, whatever you want to call it. He wasn't too pleased with me. But once he went and spent some time with his grandchild and came home, he says, all right, let's get it done. Now, we knew we weren't going to be allowed to get in because there wasn't enough of us, and they know how to fix the vote. They know how to have vote count problems, which everybody that ran had vote count problems. None of us got in, even though years later people are still saying they're sure I won the election. And the other part, Krusty didn't get in up north, or Carl, nicknamed Krusty. But they managed to run the CAO and one of the councillors out of town, and it was a full 3 years after the election that he finally took his place at the council. Okay, so we ran in 2010. He didn't get into council till 2013, and then he got reelected this last election in 2014. But he's still the only real guy on that council. The rest are all UN minions, globalist minions.
So what did he do for the council?
What he's done is he's inspired the local people. The local people finally, I mean, the people in this country, they're all going, well, it doesn't matter who you elect, you're going to get the same shit anyways. Him being in there, him taking that council to task constantly, I mean, in their face, has inspired the people. They have meetings now where they have to go rent new halls because they can't get the number of people into the council chambers. They're having meetings on the streets in the evenings. The people have a voice. Now, he doesn't have any power because he's only one vote. He's never going to get anything changed with one vote. But he's inspired the people. Now, you get majority vote. And like I said, if it's a council of 7, you only need 4 to be elected. And you've got majority. Now we can do something. Now we can get something done. Because whether people like to believe it or not, the power does not reside in Toronto. Okay? The power resides everywhere but at the legislature. The power lays in the hands of the people. It's will the people do anything with the power that they have, their real power. The province can't do nothing if the people get power out in the local municipalities. You've only got a few legislators sitting there and a bunch of jackass lawyers. Okay? If the people have control of the local municipalities, then you can get some major pushback going. Then people will come to the council chambers. When people in the council are speaking truth and telling people why their hydro bills are off their walker and why their taxes are through the ceiling and all of these nefarious revenue streams that are being set up that are eventually going to take over the possession of your house. Okay? And that's not conspiracy. That is the plan. It is written down to drive you from your homes, or at least take control of your homes, okay, and turn those into a financial instrument for the benefit as a funding mechanism for the municipality, because it's all business. So if we don't go get the councils, like Clint said earlier on his show, we got nobody to blame but ourselves. I'm so sick of this blame game. We've got 15 million people in this freaking province, and we are watching the garbage going on in this province, and nobody wants to stand up to do anything about it. And I'm going to shut up after I say this last thing here. Krusty, who was around 65 when I talked him into running in 2010, okay, is in council. He sounded like a tired old guy when we were talking. Now that he's in council, and people are calling him on a daily basis, and everybody's trying to work with him. The people who thought they had no voice now have a voice. And you talk to Carl now. He ain't a 65 or 70 some year old man now. He's 24, 25, 26 years old now. Okay? It's all attitude, and it is all what you're doing, okay? This age thing, I get so sick of this age thing, okay? My neighbor just died a few days prior to her 101st birthday. This woman didn't live in a home, okay? She lived in her own house, and not only was she living in her own house, she was looking after a disabled adult child of hers, which should be about 65, 66 years old now, okay? And mentally disabled his entire life. I mean, he could do certain things, but his mental abilities are quite low. And, they tried to take her, you're too old to look after George now. Piss off my child, I'll look after him. But this lady had attitude, okay? She knew right from wrong. She knew bullshit from not bullshit, okay? She knew when someone was trying to deceive her. And she was younger at 99 than most people are at 35, mentally, sharper. Smarter.
Love it.
Okay, so this idea that we can't go get the local councils because we can make an excuse, I don't buy that. Okay, if you're making excuses why you can't put $100 down and between now and 2018, get your shit together so that you can get your people to run in your local council, okay, then you deserve every negative thing that comes your way. Because you're the problem. You ain't the solution, you're the problem. And if you're looking for some hero to solve your problem, which is a huge problem that we're facing now, then you are the problem. It isn't the politicians that are the problem. The politicians can't get away with this shit if we simply stand up and take control of our local councils. It's that freaking simple. It's not a difficult solution to get. It's a very simple solution. All you got to do is make a decision. That's what you're going to do. If you really care about your children and your community, then you will put your $100 down. And you will encourage your friends to run. Hell, we'll run shows. We'll run shows on how to run in a council. how to run for council, how to win a council. And we'll build our teams. Anywhere that there is a municipal or local election going anywhere. And then we'll go take it back. Then when the state or the province says you must do this, then we give them a collective. And I don't like the word collective, but there are times when we could use the word collective. We give them a collective middle finger. Okay? Like shove off. Okay? We're the ones with the power, not you. Okay? This idea that we can't do anything, this just disturbs the hell out of me. You know what it's like, Chris. When you got deadlines on a job, do you just make excuses why you can't get it done? Or do you step up to the plate and figure out, okay, this didn't show up, that didn't show up, we got a timeline of this. Let's see, do we make excuses why we can't get it done even though we said we would have it done? Do we make excuses or do we figure out how to get it done? Where I come from, it gets done. If I tell somebody they're going to be in a house on July the 10th, come hell or high water, they're going to be in that house July 10th. I don't care whose ass I got to kick. I don't care who I got to skin. I don't care if I got to work 27 hours a day to get it done. It will get done. But this is the attitude that's problem here. It's rife throughout North America.
Jesus, fuck, man. You said you were going to make a quick comment and shut up.
Well, I was just trying to, after that rant I heard, I guess, of Clint's, I guess I'm in rant mode now.
Oh, God love you. No. You're passionate. That's beautiful. You're passionate, intelligent. You're spreading the truth.
Well,
you need to know it, and no, God love you. But shut the fuck up every now and then.
There's see, that's elder abuse. That's what that is.
They got a law.
What?
That's right. I forgot. I got to shut the fuck up.
There's yeah. I mean, I should go get that and put that in here. There's. I was going to talk about this today, but I don't know if I want to. I'm going to put it in the chat. I may have put it in the chat before, but this particular book, and I think it's only about 65 pages. I could be wrong. I read a bit of it, and I know Kathy Hamilton has read the whole thing. Yeah, it's a short book. It's 313 pages. Most intelligent people can rip through this in a few hours. This is an amazing text. It is called The New Despotism. It is written by the Right Honourable Lord Hewart of Bury, Lord Chief Justice of England in 1929. I will be no party to the doctrine, Lord Hewitt said in a recent speech that a Lord Chief Justice summoned to the House of Lords, as he is not merely to vote, but also to advise, is condemned to lifelong and compulsory silence on the affairs of the state. The New Despotism, a book of quite exceptional importance, is in effect the sequel to that speech. Every citizen of this country, from the least to the greatest, is directly and personally concerned with the encroachments of bureaucracy on public life. Very few laymen are aware of the wide difference which exists between the rights of these parties, the crown and the subject of the crown, as they survive to this day under the traditions of antiquated law and practice, and still less do they realize that the gross injustice not infrequently inflicted upon individuals by the harsh and unconscionable exercise of certain rights with executive departments enforced, and which the courts of law are powerless to disallow. This existence of the fundamentally false and unconstitutional idea that the bureaucracy are a privileged class, not amendable in their official acts to the jurisdiction of the courts, is a danger to our traditional liberties, which is obvious. Said the Times, in the leading article, and it is these wide differences and this is danger to our traditional liberties, which the Lord Chief Justice examines and condemns. The new despotism is fully documented and deals with these vital questions in a technical as well as a popular manner. Now, I won't put this in the chat, and I hope people take to read it. I haven't been through it all. Vicky has been, or not Vicky, Kathy, who's a brilliant researcher, has been through this thing. And he warns Britain.
Hi, Kathy.
And yes, hi, Kathy, if you're tuned in today. But what he's explaining here is that the bureaucracy. Now, it doesn't matter where you live in the West. I don't know if it matters where you live in the world, but the idea of these bureaucracies, okay, and just an example here in Ontario, what they do is the legislature legislates bodies, committees, so on and so forth, and legislates them in a way that they're outside the reach of the very province that created it. Okay, and they create it through the acts and that. Like take the OEB, for instance, because people are yipping about Hydro One and that. Well, Hydro One is just doing what it's told to do through the OEB, which was a board that was set up, which is technically not even part of Ontario. No one in Ontario can tell the OEB what to do, even though the OEB is in charge of setting our electricity and natural gas rates. Okay? So they set up this board. Now the ministry or the minister of energy can make suggestions to the OEB, but it has no power to tell the OEB what to do. You would think the Ministry of Energy would be in charge of setting your electricity and natural gas rates, but no, it's given over to this bureaucratic board, which no one can tell it what to do. And this is what the new despotism is all about. Okay, each successive legislature, regardless of what the color of the party is involved in setting up these separate entities, which are at arm's length. They may be under something, but they're not touchable by what created. And the Children's Aid Society is a perfect example.
Ron, am I allowed to interject here?
Yes, you are.
If Kathy is listening, she is the Mae Brussels of radio on your show. Very, one of the coolest women I've ever listened to in my life.
Well, how come now Kathy is actually, let me get this straight. I don't know. I can't remember if Kathy's a little bit older than me or just a little bit younger than me. But I'm taking this personal now. Well, you're playing Kathy up and you're abusing me. So you got this thing going on, elder abuse over here and elder praise over there. It's messing me up.
No, she's one.
I'm just kidding.
She's a Mae bro. Now, with the OEB, I was a board member.
Well, you weren't a board member. You were on a committee that was.
I was on a committee to be.
Right.
I mean, okay,
yeah.
I could have been a board member if I wanted to be.
Well, I doubt it because
But you know what I found funny about it? Well, I was on a committee to discuss what the OEB does, and they give you pre-planned questions,
right?
And you get A, B, C, D. And I said, "That's it? You don't get any more?" No, well, that's what we give you, and then we discuss what you think. Yes, no, maybe so. And I forget what D was. It was like, I'm getting the hell out of here or something.
Well, what you were at a consensus committee meeting.
I got paid for it.
Yeah, Yeah, you may have got paid for it, but what it is, it's a consensus system.
Oh yeah, they just want to convince.
Yeah, they have the facilitator and the round tables and the questions, and they're very interested in your input and all this kind of shit.
They fed me steak, salmon, caviar, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
like I've been to these meetings.
Paid me money when I was done.
Yeah,
but I couldn't comment other than A, B, C, D. If I had an outside question, it wasn't allowed.
See, this is what Kathy's saying. What you got was predetermined terms of reference, Chris.
Exactly.
Right, and that's the consensus table, and it's a complete setup. And from there, they go and they say, we got the input, we've considered the input, right? Yeah. And so now they turn around and say, this is what the public wants. No, this is what you want, okay? And you set up these predetermined questions, not unlike a poll. And so regardless of how you answer, they get what they want. And then they come and they say, okay, this is what the public wants. They believe that we need a separate board outside of the government to look out and make sure that it's an honest, fair system. And so now we legislate this thing into reality, and they have the absolute right to do whatever they do with the price of your electricity and natural gas. And this all came out of the United Nations, and has been implemented here because we're all members of the United Nations. And the idea is to put it into position. What they want you to do is end up using 75% less electricity that you do now. It's all been privatized for all intents and purposes. And as you use less electricity, the price continually rises. Why is the price rising? Simple. So the investors are guaranteed a payback. So, people are running around, I changed out all my light bulbs, I'm conserving electricity. Well, first of all, that's an impossibility. You can't conserve electricity. Been through that with the engineers, been through that with the linesmen, and it's only logical. How do you conserve electricity? Electricity works like this. You produce it and you use it, or you produce it and you don't use it, or you don't produce it and don't use it. That's it. You don't conserve. It's impossible to conserve electricity. But they go out and they propagandize people. We need to conserve energy, right? Well, okay, so you go out and spend a whole bunch of more money retrofitting your house and so on and so forth, new furnace, new this. Now you're on the hook. You're in more debt to conserve energy. And, because the price of energy is rising. Well, as you use less, they still want the same payback. Therefore, the less electricity you use, the higher your hydro rates are going to go. It's no different than if you look at smoking, they use the same template all the time, and I don't know why people can't catch on to this. Now they had a big propaganda, don't smoke, and then you couldn't smoke here, you can't smoke here, you can't smoke there. Now, they know that people are still going to smoke. Now, some of the ones, they are going to reduce the amount of smoking, but they still want the revenue from the smoking. They want you to use electricity, but they still need the revenue. Same game. So as there's less smokers, what happens to the price of cigarettes? It goes up, so that the same amount of income basically is coming through the gate. So they sell you all this garbage of safety and conservation, all this kind of stuff. But it's about tying you down and taking your rights away from you, while the boys in the system are still pulling the same kind of cash. So, it's a no-win for the people if we don't basically get a hold of the council so that we can counteract this and get some truth to people. I mean, there's people out there now, they're just fretting, oh my God, I can't pay my hydro bill. Well, we'll help you retrofit your house. You just sign it over to us basically through the tax system, and then once we got the handle on that, then we're going to move your house out into the derivatives market, and so see, we helped you. Well, you didn't help me because you're the jackasses that put this scam together to raise the electricity rates under the false idea of conserving electricity, and it's just a play.
Well,
So it's always they use the same templates. So basically, this book needs to be read by people so they understand what's going on.
well, I'll put it personal.
Yeah.
My son, he went to a friend's last night. He decided I got a room in the basement there, and he decided he wanted to change rooms from upstairs to downstairs.
Uh-huh.
I have a bathroom down there as well with a fan in it. And so now that he's downstairs, he had a shower in the downstairs bathroom and left the fan on. Well, until a day later, I could hear a noise, and I went, "What the hell is that?" And I panicked. And this is the system
You panicked.
doing this. Well, yeah, because the fan had been running all night.
Uh-huh.
And then in the morning, I could hear a noise. And I went, "What the hell's that?" And I ran downstairs, and I went, "Oh, my God! It's been on all night. That's going to cost me another $100."
I know. I mean, this is ridiculous, but they're going to do the same. I mean, we have the paperwork for the same thing for water. They want you to use less 75% less water in order to conserve water, and another misnomer. How do you conserve water, right? The water's there. Use it or don't use it. But when they all do these conservation things, they always leave out the natural cycles, right? I mean, you use the water, it goes back out into the ground somewhere, and then it evaporates, and then it makes clouds, and then it rains again. So this idea of conserving water is kind of like electricity.
So it's kind of like nature recycles itself?
Yeah, I've heard that, but they don't hear that in school anymore. I went through that thing in I already did that before, but the two college grads that took water management courses, and I spoke to them on different occasions in different places. So it wasn't like they were talking to me at the same time, but both of them said that we're running out of water. And you go, well, like, that's impossible? Because we're sealed, and the water that was here day one is here today. So where's the water going?
We're drinking water from 4,000 years ago or whatever.
From the beginning of the time, the day that this place showed up, the same water's here.
It's being recycled.
Right. But this is what they're taught in school. We're running out of water, and you say, well, that's kind of impossible. And then both of them changed their tune. They said, well, okay, we're not running out of water, we're running out of fresh water. Okay, how's that working out? And they gave me this scenario of snow caps melting, and then it goes into rivers, and it goes into lakes, and then eventually ends up in the ocean. And I go, that's been doing that a long time. So where'd the water go? Well, and they kind of look smart there for saying, well, come on, eh? Like, once the water goes out the river into the ocean, it becomes salinated, huh? And then it's gone, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So your teacher missed out on the idea of the natural cycle, right? Then it evaporates.
Clint was talking on Shawley's show about doctors. It reminds me of the same thing. I mean, a real doctor is good for like fixing bones, but when you get a doctor that's prescribing pharmaceuticals, you're getting into a witch doctor.
Well, it's worse than that. You're getting into a position where they are purposely creating drug addicts.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and so in the one hand, the government's telling you, look out for the pusher man kind of crap, right? And who's the pusher man? The government.
Didn't Bob Dylan write a tune about that?
Well, I thought the pusher man that was written by
Bob Dylan.
no, I don't know if he wrote it. Did he write it?
Yeah.
Because that band, the same band that did the soundtrack for Jesus, this stuff's so old I can't remember it. What was the motorcycle movie with? Oh crap! Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, this is what the government does, though. Okay, it gets the monopoly on things it's telling you are bad. Okay, like they did it with liquor, right?
Oh,
If it ain't government liquor, it ain't safe liquor. If it ain't government drugs, it ain't safe drugs. Okay? Wait a minute. It's still liquor and it's still drugs. Well, yeah, but you can trust the government drugs and you can trust the government liquor. You see, because we make a lot of money off of that. Now, we don't want anybody else making any money. We want to monopolize everything. So Jimmy's drugs are bad drugs, but government drugs are good drugs, and the moonshiner up in Tennessee, that's bad alcohol, and ours is good alcohol. And the reason that we put all these rules and regulations in is for your safety. Now, I was talking about this last night when I was talking to Corrections and Safety, the Ministry of, and they answered the phone one day I was talking to them and said, this is safety. And I said, well, that's interesting. Okay, I get what corrections done. What's safety do? Well, things, stuff. But they can't nail it down. They wouldn't nail it down. So I did. I read the definition of safety to the safety part of corrections and safety, the Ministry of. And they went, well, yeah, but that's not what it means. What do you mean that's not what it means? That's what the word safety means. Well, yeah, but not here. So you're using a word called safety that doesn't have the definition of the word safety. At best, that's deception. So could you tell me, if it's not the dictionary meaning of the word, then could you tell me what the word means where you live, over in your ministry? Well, not really. We just liked what it sounded like. So it sounded better. So instead of Ministry of Corrections and doodling, I guess, Ministry of Corrections and Safety sounded good, so you used the word without attaching the meaning of the word to it. Correct. But the more I look at safety, the more I see a term of safety meaning revenue stream. Okay? It gives them the ability to get monopolies because the government is passing this rule, this regulation, this act, this statute for safety reasons. But every one of these things passed is about creating a revenue stream. So safety appears right now, to me anyways, to mean revenue stream. You know, we're going to pass a rule that you can't text while you're walking. Well, that's ludicrous, but most of their other stuff.
Well, two kids just fell off a cliff texting while chasing down a Pokemon. What I heard.
Pokemon is. You know, I don't know what a Pokemon is, and I don't think from listening to that I really
They're scary little monsters that you got to chase down in somebody's backyard, or you got to keep your head down and fall off a cliff to get one.
Okay, now here's something from Hal from Behind the Woodshed. He says it's not deception. It's a different language is the proof of a jurisdiction foreign to you. Okay, well, you could look at it that way, but it's also the arts, right? If you look at the arts is about gaining advantage, about fiction, about unrealities, and that's what they use. They use the arts of the art of law, which uses jargon, which is only a language really known by those in that group, the same as the jargon of the medical profession, the jargon, I suppose, of the climate scientists. They use language that is not familiar to the average person, and this is called jargon, and the purpose of jargon is to basically deceive and gain advantage. And so when they say, you know, we're your government, we care about, well, you're our government, you care about us, why are you talking in these foreign languages? You know, it's like we're in court and I asked for an interpreter and the judge says, you know, you speak pretty good English. I said, yeah, but we're not dealing in English here, okay? This court is talking in a language that's called legalese, of which I am not privy to, nor do I understand, and therefore I require a interpreter. Okay, so that when you use the word understand, or you use the word safety, or whatever these words you're using, I need an interpretation to bring that into a language of English that I understand. Otherwise, how are we supposed to know what's even being said in this place, right? And of course, he denied me my interpreter. But I had every right to ask for an interpreter because they're not speaking English. You might as well speak to me in Pig Latin for when you're in a court. You know, you listen to a doctor yap at you. You say, like, you want to tell me that in English? You know, like, speak English or shut up. Well, these are medical terms. Medical terms, legal terms, you know, engineering terms. These are all arts. It's all things made up in the mind.
Yeah.
It's used to deceive and gain advantage. So how can you have a government of the people and for the people if all of these things are speaking in foreign languages to you? You can't do
Well,
it.
for the people, you are correct. I mean, if it's for us, the people that live on the land and actually touch the soil, these words should not have meaning to us.
No, but you're controlled by these words that the average person doesn't understand, even the meaning of the words. Now, I'm just going to stay. Well, I'm just going to stay with Hal here for a second because I know he's into this mining thing, and I mean they have. I've listened. What?
Get him on your show.
Well, he's not on Skype. I don't know how to drag him. I can't get him. Anyways, a jurisdiction foreign to you means an occupier is controlling your soil, and that's absolutely true. Okay, and the occupier is the crown. Okay, and the crown is the force, and yeah, they control our lands. None of these lands, and again, it depends what you want to. I have to go to terra firma, I guess, because in the legal jargon, land is not terra firma, nor is property. These are all things made up in the mind to deceive people. And it's true, and we got to get our lands back, the real land, the real soil. This is ours, okay? It does not belong to them, okay? We've been enslaved by them on lands that belong to the people, and we got to get it back. And the easiest way to do so is to get control of, you have in Ontario, you have one legislative building. Okay, you have the legislature where a bunch of nutbars, mostly lawyers, deceive the people. Whereas you have hundreds upon hundreds of municipalities, each with its own council. So we go get the local councils, then we hold the power. Okay? We hold the power. If one municipality says kiss off, which it did here in Ontario, not that far away from me, maybe an hour and a half away from me, maybe, a small municipal council didn't like something, they didn't like this idea of amalgamation, so they told the province to stick it. Well, because the municipalities are created by the province just simply pulled everybody out of that municipality and then put their own people in. And that's the power they have because they created the municipality. It belongs to the state, belongs to the crown. But if you have a pile, what kind of word is that? But I mean, if you have a large number of municipalities who have intelligent people who have the majority vote in those municipalities, it's all a numbers game. It's always been a numbers game. Everything's a numbers game. And if you have enough municipalities all together telling the state to piss off, the state is not going to come and start pulling the administrators and the councils out of 20 or 30 municipalities. Ain't going to happen. Okay, now they're in the part where they are asking to negotiate, because it's one thing to have what they would call a rogue municipality or a rogue council. It's very easy to propagandize that these people are a problem, and we need to, in order to have a good government, we got to fix this. But when you've got a multiple of the same attitude, now all of a sudden it becomes a whole different ball game. Okay, you can't have 30 rogues. How do you get 30 rogues? Obviously, there's a real problem somewhere. So the power lays at the local level. It always did, and it always will. People need to come to terms with that, and we got to go get them. And we got 2 years to go get them, and that's what we're going to have to do. I mean, I've had people. Kathy ran in the last election. She knew that it wasn't going to be a situation where she was going to be allowed to be elected. But she did it anyways, okay? And the upside of this, the real upside of this, is that during an election period, people think they're tuned into politics, which are not, but they're more open to speaking about certain things that maybe they wouldn't speak about otherwise. And I think Kathy had a very positive feedback from the people. It's a good way to gauge people, to see how much they're waking up. That's what I did in the last election with Sheila, with knocking doors. I mean, most of the people I talked to up in that neck of the woods, I would just say, "Hi, I'm Ron. I'm helping Sheila do a bit of campaigning," and they would go, "We know who you are. Why are you not running?" I would have been, if they had allowed me through technicality, they managed to keep me out of the last municipal election. Had they not, I would be talking to you on the radio today as the mayor of this municipality. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But we will be running in 2018, and we are going to take this back, and we're going to run from there. I mean, we can't keep making excuses. We just can't keep turning a blind eye and make excuses, because if we're the ones making excuses, and there is no legitimate excuse that people can't come up with $100. You can print all the signs you need, really nice signs, and I'll give you a place out of Winnipeg. I'm surprised at the price they printed the signs for and the speed with which they got them here. It was amazing. But you can print up all the signs you need for like $300, $400, $500.
Yeah.
So now you've got $100 in, $100 in, and a few dollars for signs. You got 2 years to save the money up, so you got 2 years to save $600. And the beauty of it is, once you run, you get to be on the local radio stations, to put your platform forward, which you don't get otherwise. You are given free space in the newspapers to give your thought processes on the election and what the problems are and all that kind of stuff. That's all free, and that's worth a lot more than the $600 you put in for signs and the entry fee. People in general spend, the average person is going to spend a hell of a lot more money on lottery tickets over the next 2 years. The amount of money I see people dropping on lottery tickets scares the hell out of me. So, you're talking about less than $1 a day over the next 2 years. to put your piggy bank together. Okay. Now, $1 a day. Who wouldn't put $1 a day aside to help change the problems that we face here? That seems like a pretty tiny little commitment to make.
I hear that with the Cancer Society.
You what?
I hear that with the Cancer Society. Just $1 a day.
Well, I went, I collected for the blind one time. My sister was collecting her, she was sick or something. So I said, well, all right, I'll go do it. I'm not up to this stuff because most money doesn't ever go where it's supposed to go anyways. But I don't want to say I'm too forward or not. But I say, hi, I'm collecting for the blind or the hard of seeing or whatever. And so I need you to fork up some money. And people would come and give me $5, right? And I go, what the hell is that? And they said, well, it's $5. I said, well, that's not enough. You got a 20? And they would go, well, no. I said, think about this. Think about this for half a second. You may someday require these services. And if nobody donates proper amounts of money, you may not get the service you require when you need it.
You may need radiation someday.
And so people would go, oh, I see your point. And they'd go get me $20 and take their $5 back, right? And that's not being too forward, I don't think. I mean, it's just using some simple logic. But anyway, this is something. Kathy's actually listening to the show today, which really makes me happy.
I knew it.
But she said just on this point of the election, just so that people don't think I'm blowing it out my ear here and I'm not being miserable or nothing else, this has got to get done. But what she says here is that she enjoyed talking to people, also enabled townspeople to actually see copies of the municipal planner on the UNCED and local council minutes they remained unaware of. Unfortunately, I did not get that kind of radio newspaper opportunities. Well, maybe they don't have a radio station in your particular, town or whatever, and newspaper opportunities. Well, that's weird because a newspaper is supposed to, I thought by law, besides the advertising that you have to pay for, but our papers here. They put out basically each paper puts out a set of concerns or questions, and you get to give your thoughts on them. And but the point is that I think Kathy is already an empowered woman. She's already empowered because of the situation of her daughter, and she's had to fight a lot throughout her life, which is an empowering process. But I'm just going to ask Kathy this question quickly, Chris, and
Sure.
that is Kathy. Do you not think that someone running in the election would be an empowering process for them? That they would look at things differently after they actually ran in an election and actually went up to doors and knocked on doors and actually spoke to people about things that are important that they are probably not aware of? Is that not an empowering situation? And hopefully she gives me a positive on that, because it is empowering.
Kathy is the Mae Brussels, whether she is or not. She is the Mae Brussels of our current situation right now. And her husband, who is a man who is running a company for their survival, is the way things are supposed to be.
Yes, it absolutely is the way it's supposed to be. We're not so.
Everybody's got to love those folks, because they are the true. What Canada is, and what Canada was built on, is Kathy and her husband. Like he works his butt off to run a business to support the family and protect his family, and
Yeah, but
she deals with the kids and brings up very valid points about anything that might be going wrong in her system because her husband's too busy working his business to deal with it. Now that to me is Canadian or American.
well, it's just people. It's called the neighborhood. You know, people helping people, right? The guy that we're getting feedback like a bitch here for some reason. Why is that doing that? You got your radio turned up? No.
No, my radio's off.
Well, maybe it's just a hitch here or something. But no, this is the way this is always supposed to have been operated. The good farmer produces food, the good mechanic fixes stuff, and so on and so forth, right? And the good guy that knows about health would know how to set a bone and so on and so forth. We've gotten so far away from what is normal, right? Just so totally far away from what is supposed to be normal. And this is a situation we end up with, and now. But to Kathy's point on how the positive part of running in the election was that yes, the main point is talking directly to people one on one, and the beauty of the election is that the people are expecting people to come to their doors, and that most of them are open to discussion because it's election time. And it's a very. I mean, Steve, the young guy who with a young family moved from Hamilton because he didn't want his kids to grow up in the city, and then moved up here in the country, and then found out shortly after he bought the property that he was going to be surrounded by windmills. Now he's a bank IT guy, and again, I had to kind of pull some tough love on him to get him to run. But once he ran, I mean, he gave me every excuse that everybody else gives. Now, I mean, he's intelligent enough to be a bank IT guy, but scared to death to run. Says he doesn't know anything about elections and he doesn't know any. But once he made the decision to run, and we worked on some flyers, pamphlets, whatever, get him kind of decent. And once he got out on the street. I mean, it changes people. It really, truly changes people. Once he got out on the street, he was scared to death to go to talk to people that he didn't know. So he printed up some flyers, and then he went out on the street and, stopped people and say, "Oh, hi, I'm Steve. I'm going to be running in the election." The positive feedback he got blew him away. And he went from, "I can't do this," to, "People want me to win." Unfortunately, the night of the election, they had electronic voting there, and the screens were up for quite a time, and he was on the top, and then they had, and we everywhere we ran, we had massive vote count problems, and electronic voting machine problems, and screen problems. And, but he learned something there. He learned how crooked and vicious this so-called government can be, because he went from being on top for the seat he was running for. Then when the screens went down, and they were down for an hour or two, and when they came back up, he was on the bottom and never moved again. And being a guy that deals with computers, he got it right away that this wasn't a glitch. This was done purposely. And he was very upset about it, but he learned a lot at the same time. And so we have a duty to one another, because if we just allow these people free ride continue, and we complain about the next new thing that they do to us, well, who's at fault here? Them? Hardly. It's us. So we're the ones to blame. Let's see what we got here. I love this. She put a note in here, Kathy did. It's called The Natural Family, quote, social safety net and voluntary division of labor, excuse me, that makes the natural family one of the greatest known threats to the state / nanny state. That's really good, Kathy, and it's really true. So I wonder.
You know, Ron,
I'm going to try and drag her. I'm going to try and drag her Marmara butt in here. And if you don't know what a Marmara butt is, it's the butt of a person who lives in Marmara.
that scares me.
Anyways,
trouble.
we only got a few minutes left, and I haven't talked to Kathy in a while. I'm going to see if she's online. She said she can talk, but she can't really keep typing because she's busy doing something. I just want to say hi to her. I know you'd like to say hi to her, and there's some new people in the chat that maybe don't know who Kathy is. There's Kathy. Hi,
Yeah.
Kathy. How you doing, dear?
Kathy.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right.
So you're probably preparing dinner for the neighborhood
Well,
tonight?
No, I did that last night.
Oh.
No, tonight it's just us, but I've got wet hands and I've got busy hands. I'm actually I'm doing mending and stuff like that as well. So I've got wet hands and then busy hands. So I'm listening. Lots of
Okay.
I'm glad you like that bit about the natural family because a lot of this is a war on the family. It really
It
is.
is a war in the family.
Well, and it's because, and it's nothing personal. It's just because of the family, the strength that is posed by a natural family and the interdependency. I don't like to use that word, but between family members, it threatens their dependency on the state. And dependency on the state is key to being enslaved by the state or controlled by the state, however you want to put that. So, I mean, the natural family, you've got a very natural and voluntary division of labor, in the traditional family.
Mm-hmm.
And so that threatens a great deal of profit and monopoly by the state. That's the way I see it.
Well, it's absolutely true, though.
Well,
I mean, if you look at the at our forefathers that came to these lands, okay, before the state was really established, it was the natural families, it was the natural neighborhoods who could see who was good at something and who was good at something else, and it just naturally applied itself.
That's right. That's right. And we've lost a lot of that, whereas, in some of the third world countries, they still have a great deal of dependency, the family members, on what they even call the extended family, right? Which would be aunts and uncles. And so when you have a family that takes care of its own members, they're not as likely to be dependent on the state. And that goes everything from child care to elder care to everything else. So,
Well, we've gone from looking at the state with cautious eyes and what is it you're trying to get from us to almost complete and total dependency on them.
Well, yeah, they need that. You can't have a nanny state unless you've got people to nanny. So
Exactly.
I mean, people who are independent and self-sufficient and self-supporting, or reliant only on family members for what they can't do, and again, it's a natural division of labor that you're not going to see anywhere else. So that's really threatening to a state that wants to control.
Well, yeah, and if you go way back before there was what you would call states, and what you had the natural family order, right?
Well, exactly. And the state was, again, some people could argue this, but again, if the government is by the people, for the people, and of the people, then technically speaking, it becomes like a family type arrangement. But when you look at a natural family, it's only the family members that cannot support themselves, that cannot be totally independent, that are provided for. And it was the goal of most natural families to raise their children to be independent, self-supporting.
Right.
You know, and this is something that has become largely lost. Now, if they're not, you know, lots of them live with their parents when they're grown up, or else they're dependent on the state.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the state merely has replaced parents. I don't know if you ever saw some of the stuff back in the days of the anti-smoking crusade. There was one particularly delightful little booklet put out by the Canadian Physicians for a Smoke-Free Environment, and it was called Government as Parent. I mean, that was the title of it.
It actually was titled that?
It was actually titled that. I'm sure it was. I'll have to look up a copy of it.
No,
and
I'm sure it probably was.
The argument on the front cover, you know, the basic argument was, well, don't children in government care deserve the same protection as children in the family home? That was their basic argument.
Well, that's pretty spooky.
So, well, yeah, I mean, it was an excellent little booklet. It really gave away the whole game. And you were talking about profits here, well, and government needing the profits. Well, don't you remember when, again, she was one of the directors for that same Canadian anti-smoking group. I believe her name was Cynthia Callard. She actually made the proposal that the government be the only producer and retailer of tobacco products.
Right. It's all
right. So it's all about who's making the money.
Exactly.
And you remember.
That's why I said I got looking at the word safety, and now when I'm looking at the word safety, I'm seeing revenue stream.
Exactly. Well, and you remember in North Dakota, I think it was in 2004, there was an article that came out in one of their local papers that was just stunning, and it clearly shows what's going on, because one of their state legislators decided that they would ban tobacco. You know, this supposed war on tobacco, they decided they would ban tobacco, so they brought forth a bill that would ban tobacco in the state. Well, guess who lobbied against it and made sure it didn't go through? The Cancer Society, the Lung Association, the nurses.
Really?
You know, like all of the, yes, they did.
How telling is that?
Yeah, and it even said in the article that they admitted that, well, if that went through, they would lose their funding because they'd have no, you know, they'd lose a lot of their funding.
That's amazing.
So, you know, they called it the war on tobacco. It wasn't. It was a war on smokers and property rights.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all it was. So it is the same with everything.
It's like everything's templated, eh? Just go on the shelf, get that template, and use it over here. All you got to do is change the word from tobacco to texting.
Yeah, and of course, it was also a war on the natural family because it's a war on anything that's a war on free enterprise. I mean, when you look at the natural families, voluntary division of labor and the way that they work with each other and between each other for mutual benefit. I mean, basically, you're looking at a similar model to free enterprise. You can't attack one without attacking the other, to my mind.
No, and if you look at the government, it's like the fight Michael Schmidt's having. This is all about monopolization of milk, right?
Well, it's the same.
They don't want any competition.
It's the same basic template.
Yeah, always.
Anyway, I'm sorry to butt in on your conversation.
I haven't heard your voice on the show in a long time, and it's so refreshing, right?
Running for election was really fun.
It is. It can be fun, and people are fearful of it, and there's nothing to be fearful of. Embrace it. It's fun.
The worst that can happen is people slam the door in your face.
Well, I never had anybody do that.
I had a couple that were hostile, but only a couple.
Oh, I had a couple that were a little hostile. But
I never had the doors
those people even you can I mean, we're both smarter than they are. We can settle them down and have a conversation. Anyways, I hear music. So guys, Kathy, it's so nice to hear you. Chris, as always, and
selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line, lower classes, social slime, they don't matter, genocide, sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care, Caesar shit, force of air, fuck them back, it's only for their mom, they shoot, they kill,